creator of Positive Living Inspiration. I couldn't be happier to see you today and invite you to an excellent day of sharing. Now, you know that our plan and our theme is all about hope. 12 days of hope. Help other people every day. Now, I'm going to show you a picture, which is a picture of our theme for today. Help yourself, heal your trauma, and reinvent. Most adults have something difficult in their past, and the process is healing. Right now, I wanted to remind you that this is the first winter solstice, and this is a picture drawn by a little girl from Bangladesh. And we had a drum circle yesterday, which you were invited to, and I hope you went, because we lit candles and we spread the light. Now, in North America, it is the shortest day of the year. In New Zealand, it's the longest day of the year. So don't we live in an amazing world? Isn't it fun to be here? So I couldn't be more happy to introduce Gary Stewart. Gary's a #1 international bestseller. He's done 3 books during COVID. He's a speaker, and what I think he's best known for is a master constellation facilitator. Now, he's been on ABC, NBC, and other TV shows, but the one in particular with Dr. Nandi went really virtual, like worldwide, right? Now, what do I know Gary? I know Gary as a man who's compassionate with a big, big, big heart. And I don't mean an emoji paper heart. I mean the kind of heart that gives and gives and gives. So what he's lived in his life, he's going to share with us today. And we're going to do interview style. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Gary, welcome, welcome, welcome to 12 Days of Hope. How are you?
Very good, very good. Happy solstice. And I always call this the first day of summer because the day is going to get 3 minutes longer starting tomorrow.
That's right.
So the light is coming back. That's why they were celebrating. They were celebrating the midpoint because the light was coming back. The darkness was leaving, metaphorically, even in ancient times.
Now
but enough about Stonehenge.
Are we going to get hearts in our sky too?
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, I just love this backdrop. Yeah, I found it again. I lost it.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. The book that Gary wrote, Raising Your Harmonious Child. Can you hold that book up for us, Gary?
Yes, yeah, I have it right here.
That is just out.
Off. Yeah.
Just came off, yes.
Yeah, November 18th. Yeah, so yes. Less than a month, just a month old. Yes.
And barely a month old, but he's been working on it for his entire life.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So this book was written from over 15,000 ancestral family constellation healing sessions, which is what Gary moderates. Sessions of wounded children who are now adults. Now, many clients did not get all of their childhood needs met, and yet they still survived. They're still conscious enough to heal the wounds and pains inflicted by their family system of origin. Of course, those parents who did so had the same pain and attitudes inflicted on them from their grandparents. And Gary's going to explain all that to us because life is too short to suffer. And what do we want to know about joy and happiness instead?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Gary, my first question is what are some things a parent can do to teach a child that's not really obvious?
I would say dialogue. It's really about communication. So I'm a child of the 50s and 60s, and our parents felt they had to rule by fear and intimidation, and that's so outdated. I mean, Dr. Spock, who wrote the child rearing book way back when, right before he died, he apologized. He said, I had it all wrong. So here we have a whole generation of baby boomers who were following an alleged doctor's advice. And before he died, he said no. So the thing is to talk to your children. They're going to educate you and you educate them. Because how many kids say why? Why is that so? Why? Well, you're the parent, tell them why. Don't say shut up and don't ask questions. It's so because it's so. So which is really verbal violence. And it makes the child feel, oh, I can't ask a question. I can't learn from my parents, and the parents are everything to the child, so they feel guilty and bad if they make the parent mad when they're just trying to open up a dialogue and understand life or a question about the sky, whatever it is. So talk to your child. Native Americans really had it right. They said they're little people. They are just young. They're going to be adults, but they're little people. So treat them with respect because they're in their formative years that will stick with them their whole life.
Now, sometimes children have a feeling that they're not wanted. Can you
Hmm.
explain what that means? Because for a parent, um, I totally love my kids, but
Yeah.
why would they have a feeling of that?
Well, I'm personally just to be I'm as transparent about my process as I expect my clients to be. I was an unwanted child. I mean, my father wasn't fully divorced from his first wife. Then he knocks up my mother with me, so it was a big problem. And I was very unwanted to the point of, abortion was their only way out from the trouble, which didn't succeed, obviously, because I'm here. But I was told that during the facts of life, which was not the best time to tell a child that at 12 years old.
So
And
if they don't know how they were conceived, that could be contributing.
yes, yes, and I've had many clients who are conceived by rape. I mean, it's amazing, but still they're amazing beings. It doesn't matter if we have the perfect Disney mother, father, child conception. Life is bigger than that. And the other thing I try to tell people, don't forget there's a bigger force that put your parents together to create you. And they're helpless in some ways to that bigger force that moved through them. You could call it God's spirit or whatever. And I always tell people in my wisdom of my older age now that I can see the whole picture is the universe demanded our presence. It made all the things work so we could be here today. So as bad and dysfunctional as our family may look, it worked because we're here. We're relatively sane. We're not in prison. We're not serial killers. We're adding light to the world, even if we came from humble beginnings. And that's the gift. That's the gift of the universe. And we're manifesting that for the entire universe. Every second we're alive at every age.
So every baby born, no matter what the original circumstances are a gift from the universe. So
Yes.
you want to, when would a parent want to communicate that to their child, their very existence, that it was not
Uh,
an accident?
well, I think they do it as a babyhood, like a lot of the stuff with growing children. Don't baby the baby. Don't spoil the baby. You'll spoil the baby. You're only a baby. I mean, you're walking by 6 to 12 months. You're only a baby for that 1 year. God forbid you're smothered with love and kisses and just adored. You know what I mean? That's the only time in your life. Once you start walking, they're all over the house. They're in the cabinets and childproofing and investigating what's this pot and pan. Oh my God, the whole world is drain cleaner under the sink. What is this can? And, hence childproofing. But they're inquisitive. Toddlers are inquisitive. They want to know what's behind the cupboards, what's here, what's there.
So the more loving, hugging, touching, tenderness
Yeah.
you show to the baby, the more that they carry with them throughout their life.
Exactly, exactly. And then
Uh-huh.
they carry that love. I tell people, whatever you do in the book, whatever you do to your children now is going to manifest 100 years after you're dead. So
Wow.
what do you want the memory to be? Oh, I had an angry mother. Oh, I had a depressed father. Oh, I had this. And that will be spoken about 100 years after you die. So whatever you do now has an impact on the future. My great great niece was just born in October, and
Congratulations.
I told my great niece that whatever you do, her name is Parker Jean, a girl. They want an unusual name. I love it. And I said, whatever you do today is going to be around in 2200. If she lives till 80, it'll be 2200 by the time she's a senior and dies. So think of that.
So
That's
that
a legacy.
loving touch is going to go on
Yeah, and if she
seven
has kids, it will go on to 2010, 2210, 2220, 2230. So whatever you do is going to have 100-year impact. So each child is actually the embodiment of your legacy. And
So how could I, as a parent, now I'm a grandparent as well,
yeah, yeah.
how can I rise to the occasion of giving this and making sure that I've given that?
Yeah, well, your kids made it to adulthood, so half the battle's won. You did a great job. And now to sort out the emotional fall, there's always emotional fallout because every child comes in kind of with their own karmic destiny. And, a lot of parents have trouble. I noticed with my great niece becoming a mother, she wants all the other women to step away. She wants to learn motherhood herself. And I said, well, that's probably organic that she's really drawn to like that's my baby. I'm going to take care of my baby. Don't tell me what to do. I want to learn for myself. And that's part of growth for her, to set a boundary to protect herself and her baby. And that's a natural progression. And then when they grow up and there's dysfunction, as you know, in your family, I still have it in my family. We have to work around either created obstacles or imaginary obstacles. And it can be quite painful, as you know, and as I know, to deal with the fallout of people acting out other scenarios that may not even be true to us, but they believe it to be true.
Okay, we're going to go two more questions, but I'm so enamored with this book. I think this process should be taught to everyone. This should
Yes.
be the new book that every parent gets as a
Uh-huh.
gift when their baby's
Yeah.
born. So, celebrate every moment with tenderness, love, and support. Make the children's lives special and memorable in the most positive ways because of that future generation. Can you talk a little bit more about that love milestone?
Yeah, well, when you do that, don't forget they're going to pass down what they learn. So if they learn love, compassion, communication, they're going to become adults who use that. Because don't forget, every parent is modeling what an adult should look like, what an adult should behave. And if you have negative, I had extremely negative childhood. And I'm wondering if the big heart I have is my parents didn't start out with that and they got crushed, and they tried to crush me literally and figuratively, but they didn't. So maybe that's a sign of my soul strength, spiritual strength, that I didn't get crushed by it. Many people do. So it's like then that soul strength lives on, and then you could great. So even though I never became a parent, I give love and compassion to everyone I meet in life, and understanding, and everything that I wanted as a child, I give as an adult because I know the opposite. So if the beauty of having a negative childhood was for me to know the opposite, I learned the lesson. And I have compassion for people that are suffering, that act out insanely, violently, whatever. They didn't ask for it. One clear insight that I've really had from my 23 years now of facilitation is no one asked for what life gave them.
So life is not an accident. The conception
Yeah,
is not an
yeah,
accident.
yeah,
The life that they get to experience young is the
yeah,
most important.
yeah,
Then, as they become adults and start to realize that that wasn't anybody's fault, it just happened, there's a process
exactly.
of forgiveness and moving
Yeah,
forward.
yeah.
And
Or
so,
repeating it. Some people don't do that and they just repeat the atrocities all over again, another generation, because that's all they know. But more people are becoming much more aware. And this book isn't just for parents, it's for grandparents that might see the error of their ways and inspire their children and grandchildren to see things differently. We find very often in the constellation world that the grandparents can give unconditional love because they don't have to change the diapers, they don't have to go buy food, they can just share the joy and the love with the child. And most clients who've had traumatic stuff happen, if it wasn't with their grandparents, they love their grandparents more than their parents.
I love that you brought in grandparents because that's
Yes,
what
yeah.
wisdom connection is about.
Absolutely,
Taking all those
absolutely.
seniors who've been kind of isolated, especially in
Yes,
the pandemic, and saying, no, your life is a superhero, a career, a family.
absolutely.
Family being the thing that they still look forward to for their future because that's inherited, right? What they've
Yeah,
learned, what they've given. And you said inherited family patterns can be hard to break. It's best to stop and think. So let's use that as your final piece of advice. What
sure.
step that we can do to create those healthy boundaries?
Mm. I would say try to follow your heart. A lot of people want to do what's right, but they forget about their heart. And having your heart open to your child, or seeing, giving that love to a child, because as we know, the world kind of can be cruel, as we see now, different things going on. So, can we open our heart in spite of a less than perfect world, so to speak? Because really, that child is your whole world. That child, you birth the future. Every woman who has a child actually gave birth to the future. And why women are disrespected on earth with misogyny, that's my next book, but I'll never know. But at the same time, women are birthing the future, and every man should actually worship that woman, because the better the child is, the better his legacy will be, because the nurturing of the mother, the divine feminine, is birthing, she's actually birthing humanity. And that's overlooked a lot, and especially with the degradation of the female, which is the last thing that should be done, but that seems to be the norm in patriarchal society.
So making a child safe and secure,
Yes.
loving, touching,
Yeah.
having a big heart that sees beyond and not just
Yes.
the moment, and having
Absolutely.
amazing grandparents
Exactly.
give back and learn about themselves and be self-aware.
Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, we're going to close with what we always say, and that is love yourself, hug yourself,
Yes.
and make a smile to give away. This is Naomi, always young, creator of Positive Living Inspiration. We've had our guest today, Gary Stewart, who's been absolutely amazing. And please hold up your book one more time, because I want people to remember raising your harmonious child is an opportunity for you to change your life and your future. So before you go, love yourself, hug yourself, make a smile to give away. Bye.
Excellent.